oil has been bottoming, and you know, I did a video a while ago. I don't even think I posted it. I was talking about oil. You know, anyway, you know, talk about specific companies here. General Electric, there's Starbucks. You know, earnings cut roughly in half. Starbucks. I mean, it's not surprising. You know, you can see that the places that are getting damaged and that they're retail. You know, stuff like that. So now we know. You know, you've got that bit of information. You've even got a bit of information about certain industries, and that, you know, that is interesting to look at. You know, the oil's going up. You see some pictures. You know, you get involved a bit in the global feel. You know, so now we know. You know, this is where I was doing the video. So I did the last video here, and I don't use this iPad normally to look for stocks, but that's why it was back there a couple of them. But you see, it's gapped up. So, you know, it looks like it could easily come down. You know, because this has hit this moving average. You know, personally, I'm not huge on moving averages, but people do use them. And if you look at the moving average at the top here, you know, it's really hit to that moving average. So we're now at a very kind of strong level of resistance, because also, look at this chart. And this is the SPY, so this is the main market that you look at. This is the main barometer of the market. Basically, I'll have this open. You know, that map that I was showing you at the start of the video, you know, I have that available for me to be looking at continuously, because you've got to remember that there are different sectors. So this is the overall market, but obviously the stocks are doing their own thing as well. But in general, you know, if there's nothing going on with that stock and it typically follows the market as the market goes anyway, then you might see very similar patterns on that stock than you know that you see on this. I think I mentioned that in one of these videos, but anyway, we're getting into trend lines now, okay? And if you look at this, it's creating a trend. So you can see, that's why you've got these lines on there. I mean, I thought it was a bit weird having these lines and these, you know, funny little things, but these really help, because the moving averages are one thing, but they're not everything. You know, not only is there moving averages hitting now, but it's also hitting a round number of 278. So the SPY is at 278. You know, no 280 basically. You know, it's right up there at 280. That's what I'm saying. You know, that line there, you know, where that's crossing there, that's 280. And so you see that, that's, you know, this is the type of thing that happens. And if, like, for example, you know, you could take a short here, you know, and then put a stop up above here somewhere, you know, if you really think it's going to come down here, because look, you draw another line and you get the bottom side of the trend, you know. So you can see that February, look at February, December, you can see what's been happening in the market. So if you're a newbie, you can see where, you know, it started really dropping the markets, you know. And if you're looking now, you know, we're not out of the woods by any way, shape or mean, you know. But basically what it is, it's coming down to these lockdowns, you know. So this is the main news anyway. So looking at that, you know, you could see it move down to this trend line around here, or you could even see it come down to 260, you know, if it's a particularly bad day, you know. Or it might come down to 270 today, you know. You've got to look at these round numbers. So anyway, what I'll do, yeah, is that when I'm trading, okay, that's a daily chart as well. You can do this on all the time frames of the chart. So if I go to a 15-minute chart here, you want to know the whole scenario, okay? So we know that there's resistance there, you know, where it is now at 280, and we're looking at how it's moving, you know. So look at the way it's moving, you know. These are the 15-minute charts, so these are just days that are going. You can't think, oh, today it's going to go blah, today's going to go mental. That's why you look at the news. You look at the feel of the day. Is there anything that's specific that's happening that's hugely impactful and might cause a big panic, you know? No, or are we in a bad situation, currently in the bad situation, and, you know, it's just trading accordingly, you know? You can see that the SPY here, you know, it bottomed out, didn't it, at 245. And it just bounced along there for like 3 days, and then it just gapped up again, and then look, you can see the story. So if you look at April the 6th, it's very nice and kind of bullish, but very tentative. I mean, all those spikes down, they don't really mean anything. Like, if you're in that stock, and those spikes are there, you see those spikes, I think what it is someone's got an order here, and then another person fills that order at this spot. So they've got an order to buy or sell right down here, and someone else makes an order for the exact same price, you know, and then it just fills. I think that's what these spikes are. So those are people that get either, you know, a massive amount in one order, and someone loses a massive amount in one order. I mean, I don't know what those spikes are, but I'm presuming it's that. But anyway, you look at the way it's moving, and generally with stocks, you know, it's not designed at all, because it's all compulsive human behaviour and people reacting to other people's compulsive human behaviour, you know, and people that actually can predict that behaviour. And if you're a person that behaves in a certain way when trading the market, then the market will reflect that. So, for example, if you consistently behave in a good way, where you're controlling everything you do, you know, you've got your eyes open to everything that you're doing, and you're constantly solving, you know, you're constantly refining the ways that you look for stocks, for example. And anyway, but this is basically passive, because I'm reading this chart now, I'm looking at it. Okay, so April the 6th, look, it goes 255, then it goes up, and then on April the 7th, it gaps up really high, you know, it really gaps up, and then it loses a lot of steam towards it at the end of April the 7th there, so it loses quite a lot. It settles back down to 265. Yesterday, it just basically did a reversal of the day before, you know, but you can see that it's going up on this kind of trajectory now. Again, you can draw trend lines here, but these aren't the type of trend lines that are great, and the reason they're not great is because it's just so volatile. You don't know, it's so hard to predict. It's definitely been harder to trade over the last, you know, the more volatile it is, the harder it is to trade, because you can't make as good predictions, you know. You just because the whole main markets are going so erratically, it becomes harder to make really calculated, consistent decisions. You can still do them, but I find that it's harder to find opportunities. But that's just, you know, that's ambiguous, you know. It doesn't help you in any way. But if you can see, look, there's a kind of trajectory to this, and this is the kind of trajectory. But you know, at 280, you know, I was mentioning, there's resistance there at 280. So look, it's gone above 280. It's gone above, but that doesn't, you know, it can go above, and then it can drop down. It doesn't mean 280 is not a strong level because it's peaked above it, you know. So it's all these types of little things that you start picking up, you know. And also, what you would notice about this, okay, is that even though it's a strong level of resistance there, if I go to the trajectory of this kind of trend, so this recent trend here is kind of going up, not quite that angle, okay, not quite that angle, it's a bit more up. So look, it's kind of this kind of angle, isn't it? That's the kind of trajectory, and it really is, you know. You can just see it, you know. If you look, if I put that, well, I don't know. It's kind of like that anyway. Wait, let me see if I can get this a bit better, and then it might match up with a candle back, you know, further back in the chart, which would be, you know, it would show that you can find these kind of trend lines and trajectories in charts, you know. So I'd say, so let's put it like that, okay, and let's just put that as a line going back there like that, touching exactly the same bit, you know. It's like, I don't know. Anyway, all I was going to say is that, look, if you put it up the top here and you assume that that's the top peak, then if you were going to assume that there would be this is only an example I'm making here, but this is how you look at charts, you know, and this is how you would probably discount taking something like this, because you say, okay, it's coming up in this kind of trajectory, and that is a kind of, you know, it's tentative, but it is a very it's got a lot of momentum in those past 3 days. Yeah, this is the main market. This is SPY. I'm going to look into more stocks in a minute and show you how to look for different stocks and individual stocks. But it's really good to just read this chart, because it's just like any old chart. They all you know, you can make predictions on all of them at certain points, you know. So the reason I wouldn't want to short this necessarily now, but I might still want to short it, but on the basis of that moving average and the daily chart trend line, but that is a risk, you know. And if I can just look at another stock, and instead of seeing a stock that looks like that, I see a stock that goes right up to 285 here. and it's up there and it's spiked up there, for example. And then okay, now you're not only on you know, and say 280 was up here, so say the resistance point was 285, the really strong resistance point on the daily chart was the same, was 285, then you've got a super strong point, you know. This at the moment, it's got that strong resistance on the daily chart, which I showed earlier obviously, but it's still got that there, it's still got that little, you know, and I don't want to get in there and put a stock at 286, so immediately I would not get in this stock for that reason, you know. Not short it at 280, but that is a strong level on the daily chart, you know. So this is the type of thing you can do. You can really you can find these points of reversal. That's what I'm saying. So even now, it's gone to 280 and it is coming down. It's gone to 278 and it might even come down to 270, might even go down to 270, 272, whatever. But it might not. It might come up. It might just stay around 280 all day, 275 to 280, 275, and then it might creep up to 282 a bit later in the day. Then it might drop down. You don't really know, but you can get these points of reversal. That's what I'm saying. It's that right now this is a good spot for a reversal, you know, because it's this daily trend line again where I drew the diagonal lines here. You know, I drew them like that, and you know, and also we have that 280 there, which is a, you know, a round number. So anyway, I'm going to split this video into a few sections, okay? So but this is getting on towards you know, I'll do another video straight away, so I'll get into the looking for stocks and how you look for them, so that you could immediately try and do the same thing, you know, and start, and instead of starting from, oh, I've got to start from all the boring bits, or, you know, it's like playing the guitar but starting off by playing the wicked tunes, you know. So it's not like, oh, you're going to play the guitar, you're going to have to learn how to, you know, string the guitar, all the different chords. You're going to have to learn to write music, read music. Then you have to do the simple chords for months and months. What I'm saying is that I'll give you the riff, you know, for your favourite guitar song, and I'll teach you how to play that. And then from that, you can work. You can discover everything else. And that would be a more exciting way to start, because then that makes you immediately powerful, you know. It immediately gives you some power, because you know that you can at least, you might even be able to pick them out. You know, you might get a good win percentage on your first run, you know, and then you'd be flying around thinking you're amazing, but then you'd start to learn lessons, you know, because that's the problem with the markets. You do learn lessons in a harsh way, you know, and it makes you cringe and cry, and it's really upsetting, you know. But I'm telling you now, I'm past that point. So as fast as you can get to being past that point where you're purely analytical. And the start of the video, I'll mention a very important thing which I do with my bankroll and my bankroll strategy, and I'll talk about the brokers so that you can. So this is the fundamentals for brokers and